Sap, good to see you again, buddy.
Good to see you too, Adam.
Yeah, how you doing?
Doing great, man. It's a wonderful Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited to be out grilling with you.
One last warm weekend of Denver weather. Then we dropped to 40 degrees on Tuesday.
Can't wait for that Tuesday snow. It's going to be exactly what we're all looking for.
You know, I don't mind cooking in the snow, but I much prefer to grill in a nice warm day.
I love having just the right backyard kitchens where I can slide in and slide out and when it is cold. But I'd like to be doing this at 90-degree weather instead of 40 degrees and some sleet and snow.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, let's see, we've done turkey, we've done chicken, we did some ribs. What are we doing today?
Today, we're doing duck.
A duck. So I've never grilled a duck.
I've only done a duck once before, and at the same venue. Here we are in a totally different place, not my backyard. We're here at my friend Patricio and Maria's house in Denver.
Yep.
And they have this awesome, beautiful backyard with fantastic mature trees, things you don't have in Highlands Ranch. And we get to have his awesome grill. Patricio's got this fantastic ceramic grill, which is a really totally different kind of method and technique. And Patricio and I did some awesome duck here a couple of years ago, and I'd love to be able to replicate it again today.
Awesome. And we were generously given a duck by our good friends, the Holt family. So they were able to donate a duck to us. Where would you normally get a duck? Can you just pick one up at the store?
Yeah, you really can. Like, they're really that accessible these days that any of your big grocery chains that we don't advertise on our show will have duck. Sometimes it's a seasonal thing, but they are generally pretty good domesticated ducks, usually raised in New York. Or if you're lucky and you have a friend who hunts, you can pick yourself up some pretty good duck too. And I know at least here in Colorado, you got a pretty decent duck season.
And that was a good reason to do duck today, is because we're getting ready to get in towards some of the hunting season and some of the bird season. My son said, all you guys do is birds. We slipped in that rib show last week, but we've done chicken, turkey, and now duck. What makes duck different from our normal other birds that we've done?
That's a great question. You're absolutely right. We're really headed into the fall hunting season. Dove opened this week. Teal, which is kind of like a duck, opens in like 2 weeks, and so this is the time to be getting these things and to be able to cook them. So duck and other waterfowl, just because of the nature of what they are and what they do, they're a little fattier in order to keep them warm in the cold water, and they also, because they swim and they fly really rapid fire, you're talking about red meat throughout. You're talking about a lot of quick fire, rapid muscle movement, which creates this delicious, very dense meat.
Okay. So how are we going to cook this duck? Are we going to put it on the rotisserie like we've done before?
We could,
okay.
And it would make a fantastic duck. But because we're using Patricio's ceramic grill, which is fantastic tool, we're going to do it a little bit different. The first time Patricio and I did a duck together, we smoked the legs and the thighs, and then we just seared off the breast. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to cook the whole duck together. It's spatchcocked, so it's laying flat at a low temperature for about 3 hours, and we'll crank it up to a little bit more than 400 degrees for the last half hour to get a nice, delicious, crispy skin on that really, really fatty reserve on the skin.
So that's actually pretty similar to what we did with the turkey and with the chicken wings.
Oh,
we
yeah.
had to cook it long and slow early to get that smoke in there, and then we wanted to go high temperature late to get that crispiness.
Exactly. It's the same kind of thing. That right now it's such a thick skin and it's so fatty. It's going to be really chewy. There's delicious flavor there. But ideally, with that long, low, slow, it's going to render off and melt off a lot of that fat, which will just make that bird really juicy with how we're doing this. Because it's just going to drip away instead of staying on it and getting greasy. And then we just crank it up, and what's left of that reserve fat should just melt off. It will be great.
Awesome. Nothing will ruin a well-cooked bird faster than a rubbery skin at the end. So that's great that we're going to go ahead and crisp up that skin.
Absolutely. Two things that we want to try to avoid is too dry of a breast and too rubbery a skin.
Yep.
And duck is a little bit different too. It's the bird where it's okay. And I guess you can do the same thing with goose too, where the breast, it's okay that you can serve it medium. It doesn't have to be cooked. It doesn't have to be cooked all the way. So we're looking for about a temperature of about 200 in the legs and thighs, and about 165 in the breast.
Excellent. So we got about a 3-hour cook. We'll check in shortly. Zap, I can't wait.
It's gonna be great.
All right, so we got the bird cooking. We probably got another hour or so before we got to get that skin nice and crispy.
Exactly. That's
right?
exactly where we are. It's looking great. The next time we check on it, I'm gonna probably make one quick adjustment. When you do birds, something you got to think about are the outside and making sure that when things like the wings are prawned up right now. So at this next time, I'm gonna foil those wings so that they don't overcook. But we're gonna stay the course just like that before we crank up the heat to render it out at the end.
Perfect, perfect. So let's talk about what we brought to drink.
Awesome. Well, it looks like you brought some great stuff for us. So I told you that my thoughts were to try to hit something that was kind of Asian inspired.
Mm-hmm.
That when Josh and I were in China, in Sichuan, 5 years ago, we ate a lot of duck.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's a lot of river. It's easy bird to raise in that part of China, and so it's a common part of the diet. It's not a luxurious thing. It's actually a pretty common thing. So I got inspired by that, and I put together a rub of Chinese spice, some Sichuan peppercorns, some garlic, some soy sauce, and some honey. So it's pretty basic marinade that I put together. So tell us about the whiskeys you put together for us that will go well with that spicy and sweet.
Sure. So yeah, with the Szechuan being spicy, right? The honey bringing some sweet, the soy sauce bringing a little bit of sweet and some salt as well. And then Patricio gave us some maple wood for our smoke as well. I really want to try to balance out that sweetness and complement the spiciness that you selected.
Awesome.
So the first one we brought is Mythology Hell Bear. And Mythology is actually a local distillery here in Denver. So we always like to promote when we can a local distillery. And it's actually finished in Syrah barrels.
Oh, awesome.
So it's going to give a nice kind of finish to it. It's a blend of actually some bourbon and some of their straight whiskey that they put together into this bottle.
It's fantastic.
The second one we brought, we've actually had before on the show. It's the Basil Hayden's Dark Rye. So that's actually made by Jim Beam, and it is a different rye than any other rye that we've tasted. Right? We always talk about this. It actually has a nice caramel up front, and then it's finished in port casks. So it almost has kind of a fruit finish and some berry flavors to the end of it as well. So it doesn't necessarily emphasize that pepperiness, and it may just be a little bit sweet with what we're doing.
Sounds perfect. Yep.
The last one we brought in is a straight true rye, straight rye whiskey. It's the Pikesville Straight Rye, made in Bardstown, and it's going to be a true rye with the peppery notes, some of that vanilla and caramel flavors, but you're really going to have that kind of long, spicy finish to it.
Fantastic. Some great choices. I can't wait to taste them, and I can't wait to see how well they pair with the duck.
Timer went off. Grill cranked up to 400 for about the last 20 minutes.
Yep, and look at that. All that rendered fat is just coming right off of it. That's liquid gold right there, man. The best French fries in the world are made with rendered duck fat. And that's what we got right there, which is going to make this a little bit crispier. So we are good to go. So we're going to let that rest for about 10 or 15 minutes, carve it up, and see how good the whiskeys taste with it.
Perfect. Stop. This duck smells amazing.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much to your friends for donating this duck to us.
Well, thank you to your friends Patricio and Maria for donating their house.
We are really lucky. You and I have really good friends. We're really lucky people.
It's amazing. We're happy to share this with them as well. So
Awesome. Well, let's start with the tasting, man. So what are we going to taste first?
So the first one we're going to do is the Basil Hayden. Again, kind of some vanilla, some caramels, and some fruit berries at the end. So it's a little different rye than normal ryes.
Awesome. So we have the chicken, or excuse me, the duck wing for our tasting today.
Nice sweetness, nice spiciness to it. What do you think?
You know, I really like the Basil Hayden, and I like how the sweetness of the rye, and this one's a much sweeter rye than most ryes, is really helping to support just that fattiness, that richness of the duck meat better than it did when we tasted it before.
Sure, I agree. I think that just having that nice fruit blend at the end, along with the sweetness of the vanilla at the beginning, really just blends in well with the rich fattiness of the duck. So the second one we're going to do is the Mythology. And again, this is the local one from here in Denver. And this is a blend of bourbon and rye. And it finishes in that Syrah barrel. So it should have a little bit of sweetness to it as well. feel like the sweetness almost comes a little earlier with the mythology than it did with the Basil Hayden. It might be because of that bourbon that has that in there. So it's, the alcohol itself is a little bit sweeter.
It's really good. Excuse me. It's really good. I really liked with that one with a little bit of the pepperiness with balancing the wing well for me. That bite of the duck wing was a little sweeter for me, so it created a different balance of flavors than in the first bite. So
Great.
it's good.
And then the third one is the true rye, the Pikesville straight rye. You know, I really like the way the straight rye kind of cuts through the richness of the duck. That pepperiness really gives a nice complement to it that's different from the other two.
Absolutely. It's definitely less sweet than the other two and just provides a different balance of flavors. But I think I'm pretty solid with which one I think I preferred with the duck.
Okay, well, which one do you want to pick?
Honestly, it's the mythology for me.
Yeah?
I can really pull that balance that's coming from being aged in the Syrah barrels, and I think it complements the spices that I chose with the duck, the richness of the fat of the duck, and just the natural flavor of what the duck tastes like, and that little bit of maple that we got off of the smoke from the fire that Patricio built for us.
Sure. I actually think all three of these choices actually blended very, very well with what we chose. There's the rubs you put on, the mapleness, the maple wood. But I agree. I think the mythology is my victor as well, which it's funny. That's the third one in a row now we've chosen together, so we might have to change it up somehow. But that's also the first local one that we've picked. That's the first one that's based here in Denver that we've gone with. So maybe that'll grow a little bit, and you'll be able to find it in your neck of the woods, wherever you are.
Well, honestly, Adam, I want to compliment you on your selections for today. I felt like these three tasted better and balanced better with the barbecue than any of the other ones that you'd selected. So it was a hard pick. Like I said, it was just that flavor that I could pick up from the mythology that I know is from the age of the Syrah barrels. I just felt like it was just that right pick.
Yeah,
So.
awesome. Well, thank you to the whole family. Thank you to Patricio and Maria. Please make sure to follow us on YouTube and on Facebook. Zach?
Thanks so much for everything, and hey, keep ordering those hats. We got people wanting some hats and wanting some shirts coming. We'll be glad to get those shipped out. Thanks for all your support. We really appreciate it.
Take care.